I'm Rachel. Stephanie.
Hi, I'm Jeffrey.
Joffrey.
I'm Betsy.
Joffrey.
Madison.
What was it like to be literally at home, sitting on your computer, that place where it's supposed to be comfortable, like with no school? What was it like being home and having to do classes through the computer the whole time? Rachel, how did you feel about that?
It was boring.
It was boring. Okay. Did you feel like engaged with it, or how did you feel? Not engaged at all?
No.
So what did it feel when you came back to school here in like April?
I was really excited because I could see people, and also my teachers were telling me like the fun things we were gonna do, and it sounded way more fun than what we were doing on Zoom.
Yeah, absolutely. Zoom was fun for maybe like the first couple times, and then it was like, no, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
What about you, Stephanie? Like, what grade are you gonna be in this next year? This coming next school year, what grade are you gonna be in?
You, Steph.
Me?
Which school are you
Yeah,
going to be?
what school are you gonna be in next year?
South.
How do you? We'll ask about how you feel about that in a second. But so are you gonna be a freshman next year?
Yeah.
So how did that feel? Like, this is some of my 8th graders, like I literally didn't see them for a year and a half. Like I saw them as 6th graders and a little bit of 7th graders, and then I never saw them again. How did it feel spending the second half of your middle school career sitting at home on Zoom? How did that make you feel? Not certain. Let me ask you this. Were you happy to come back to school at the end of the year?
No.
You weren't happy? Okay, that actually is okay to say, because I had a lot of students who loved being at home. So did you enjoy being at home doing school?
Yes.
What was the most enjoyable part about it? Was it being able to stay in your pajamas? Being able to have snacks when you wanted to have snacks?
There it is.
Is it probably one of those? Yeah, and you know what? I totally get it. I totally understand. I had so many students I felt like would show up to class with like blankets over their head and everything. And so like their bedroom, laying on their bed became the part where they wake up, do class, lay back down, and go back to sleep. Is that okay? I thought so. Madison, how are you?
Good.
Good. How have you been?
And they good today?
You good? Okay. How was this past year? Has it been kind of fun or kind of crazy to be at home all the time and see?
Play.
It's what?
Playtime.
Playtime?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, you've got a lot of time to play, right? Did you get to watch your sisters do school a lot? Yeah. Did you try to bother them at all?
No.
No, okay. Oh, but you've had more time with them to see them a lot, right? A little bit? No? Not so much? Oh, well, so have you been doing pretty good though?
Yes.
That's awesome. Oh
She
my
was
gosh.
really happy to go back. She went back earlier than the girls
Okay.
did, so she was part of the program when they started bringing kids back in February.
Okay.
When they brought back elementary, they were doing a phased approach, but because she's in a special needs classroom, they brought them back immediately. The toughest thing, of course, with Madison is Stephanie and Rachel, they can handle the computer on their own.
Yep.
And whether they do it or not, you have to poke your head in there, and they would Zoom bomb each other. Now, let's be honest here. There was Zoom bombing going on because they both go to Jetson, and of course, a lot of Rachel's teachers knew Stephanie. And so, there was one teacher that kept calling Rachel Stephanie. Yeah, so there was some confusion because, of course, it's Zoom. You're not seeing the person physically, so it's sometimes difficult. With Madison, it required 100% concentration. You had to have an adult sitting with Madison just to get through, maybe an hour. At the most, you could do an hour and a half a day,
Oh,
if you could do that.
It was incredibly hard.
What's been the toughest is the education side of it for our family. Because back last year, I calculated Betsy replaced 25 professionals. And I'm not talking, administrative staff, the lunch ladies, janitorial. I'm talking about 25 teachers our 3 girls had 25
You're being
teachers.
generous.
And so Betsy basically replaced those. So think of it. Last spring, there was no teachers. They were putting things out on Google Classroom and saying, go out and do this. And Betsy and I both being college educated, we said, you guys are going to do this.
I'm going to hold him.
And even technically, I spent 30 years in IT, and I struggled with the IT side of it. And it took me over a month to figure out, okay, how is this all working? Once that happened, then it flowed a little bit easier. But I kept thinking, some of the families that I drive, there is no way in heck they are going to survive this remote learning. Either they don't have the money, they don't have the technology, they just don't have the family support to do it. And that's what really was painful, was to see our family struggle educationally.
Betsy, let me ask you about that. Because I think that, like, of course, like, you know, as your parents, like, you see the bits and snips of, like, you know, the everything that they need to be successful in school. But as Jeff, you kind of said, like, the paradigm was flipped. It went from, we kind of provide you the materials, and then you have to go about a little bit applying it yourself. So how did you feel about that? How did you take that?
So I'm going to edit myself.
Absolutely.
I'm going to edit it. I think I just feel there was a lot of anger, I'll be honest.
Sure.
Not that I was out hitting people or getting mad, but my first response was to kind of just feel abandoned, because I was home with the girls, and very quickly all these really positive support things in our life just fell like dominoes. And not that we have a home, Jeff was working, we have healthcare, we have educations, we have the church. I mean, we're not like we're lucky, you know, but just we had this wonderful lady who used to clean house for us, and she did get COVID, but she stopped helping with that. So then there was the house, and then we have wonderful helpers for Madison, and about the time COVID hit, we lost almost all of them. We have a couple of intrepid people who've hung in there through the whole thing. And so at first I just sort of felt abandoned by the world, not by God, but, you know, by the world kind of. And then I think it became anger as time went on, because it was just and nobody, like, I just think everyone was just reacting and trying to just do the best we could. But the total of what happened, I think, to some parents, and I was the one in our family because Jeff was working, is that this big load just came right back at him. And if you have one child, it's a lot. When you have 3 kids, even though we have really independent older sisters, it's a lot. And if you have anybody with special needs in your family, Zoom doesn't work. Zoom gave her startle seizures. I mean, her teacher was awesome. He was trying so hard. They did one-on-ones with her, with the aides. I mean, they were working so hard. But our philosophy was, we show up, we stay as long as we can, we politely leave, and we do our best. And we try to do what we can.
Wait, you gotta leave early from class?
Well,
Yeah.
Sometimes.
Well,
we could turn off the camera, but then that,
okay, I do.
sometimes we'd turn off the camera for a while and see if we could get back on, but it became, okay, let's see if we can stay 15 minutes. And some things we could stay longer for. So there were certain things that she enjoyed that she was engaged in. But I really feel like if you have someone with a special need, this didn't work. Like, and then the teachers were trying so hard. It's just, it was kind of a lost child.
And there's one
I don't know what else to say. I mean,
No.
I had helpers who would help her access the class because I was trying to help the big kids, or I had to help my mom with appointments.
That's why the one thing that's missing in all this that people need to realize. Betsy's mom, she had a major medical issue a couple of years ago. And all of a sudden, Betsy found herself spending a tremendous amount of effort caring for her. Now, when the girls were in school, that was fine because Betsy was able to schedule things while the girls were in school, and it didn't impact as much. Every once in a while, there'd be an evening or a weekend where something went south, and we had to interrupt our lives to help that out. When COVID hit, all of a sudden, Betsy no longer has that time. She's now got 3 kids at home, 24/7. And for a while there, of course, you couldn't go anywhere, literally. You know, they got things shut down, so you're now confined to a home with 3 girls. Husband is still out there trying to, you know, do his bit, and we still have this remote person that has to have care.
Yeah.
And as I said, I can't believe, some days I couldn't believe Betsy was still upright. I mean,
I
it was
cried
amazing.
every day
Yeah,
for the
it
first.
it was bad.
Probably for the first 3 weeks, I cried every day. Because and then I got stronger, and I,
You did?
Oh, yeah.
yeah, I did, I cried every
Oh, I
day.
missed lots.
Because I was just so overwhelmed, because the dominoes fell. I mean, it wasn't just like one or two, it was like the dominoes fell. And during COVID, my mom, nobody got COVID in our family, to my knowledge. Maybe we had it, didn't know it. Nobody got COVID. Everybody who can get vaccinated is fully vaccinated now. My mom was safe. She was not locked in. She was in a cottage. We had caregivers come in. She could actually go out and she was not locked in. She didn't get COVID. So it was all really good, but there was just a lot. And she had some more medical issues at the time. It was hard to even get an appointment. And so it was just, yeah, I mean, I'm going to babble here, but yeah, it was a lot. And my sister actually sent me an article from the New York Times. It was all about this, about women, that nobody meant this to happen, but all this stuff got, and it could be single dads too. I would say the caregiving parent, and it could be men but this article is about women, that all this stuff just got dumped on women. And the women in this article have it way worse than I did. They were trying to work full time from home and do all this stuff, and I didn't have that.
Yeah. We're getting close to the end of COVID. Now, that's a very rough term because what that means, we don't really know. But we're starting to see some certain things normalize, right? We're hopefully going to go back to school every day next week, or next year.
Yep.
That's the same look that my kids got. I'm like, there's 5 days school? But the idea is that, and we're starting to see more people be vaccinated. We're starting to see masks and social distancing being a little bit more sparse, with still being safety, but we're seeing maybe a light at the end of this tunnel. So, a lot of stuff has been closed. And so kind of my question to you is, Rachel, what are you looking forward to about after COVID or wherever we're at now? What do you look forward to being able to do that you haven't been able to do maybe the last 14 months?
Probably just being able to go out more and see people more. I have been able to see people, but still not as much.
Okay, so seeing your friend Stephanie, what about you?
One thing that Rachel did mention to me was,
It's my turn.
just to dovetail onto what Rachel said, one of the things is the cohort was very, very difficult. So some of Rachel's friends from school were in the wrong cohort. So going back in September, one of the things she was saying was now she gets to see all of her friends. And that's really important
You
too.
interrupted me. It was my turn.
Okay,
But that is-
I didn't even like you wanted to talk.
I don't know.
But that is a good point because you've been able to see half of your friend groups and so yeah, that is a good point. We kind of forget about that a little bit, and we don't even get a choice to pick our friend circles, right? So absolutely. My apologies, Stephanie. What about you? What are you looking forward to, literally, COVID kind of being closer to done? What do you look forward to being able to do that maybe you haven't been able to do as much this past 14 months?
Go on a trip.
Okay, you know what I'm going to ask. Where do you want to go on a trip to?
Washington, D.C. and New York.
What do you, really? Is that because you've been wanting to go to?
Can you tell him?
She is.
Can you tell them about it?
Yeah, I don't know anything about this.
Oh, okay. Judson, there are a couple of teachers at Judson that have a charitable company called,
Teachers
and what they
that
do
doesn't
is incoming sixth graders go to a meeting, and for 2 years they put away money and they send them to Washington D.C. and New York for 5 days. And so last year she was supposed to go, and of course they canceled it. No, last year the group before her got canceled, so they're going to go as a group this summer. And so in August she goes to Washington D.C. with about how many other kids? 100?
Yeah, fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed, everything holds,
Yeah.
they get to go. And so she's been looking forward to this for over 2 years.
Okay. And
And they're also going to be at city camp. That's going to be a fun thing too.
Well, that's definitely going to be an awesome.
Huh?
City camp.
Huh?
Aren't you guys going to city camp this year?
She's not going because it happens during city.
Oh, I think this trip happens during
During
city
city
camp.
camp.
So I'm going to
City
city
camp.
I'm
See,
probably gonna be
as I said, the
on.
scheduling that she has to keep up with, I can't. It's
Yeah, no, it's okay. Madison, what do you want to do? What do you think would be really fun to be doing here?
Play the piano.
You want to play the piano?
She helps me. I started taking lessons, and I took it when I was a kid. I started taking him again, and she comes and plays.
Oh my goodness. Madison, you're going to have to play the piano at church. At some time. That would be-
Madison is going through a huge transition. She's now at Judson in September. So she's going to be in middle school. So for 3 years, she's had the same, support group at school. And that's all going away, and her building's going away, which, from her perspective, medically, this is going to be a huge, huge change. But the girls, this is what's so surprising. When we were talking about this, the girls, during the time that they were going to school, they were checking out how they were handling the special needs kids. And they come back and tell mom, oh, the buses come in earlier. They group them all together. They have their own entrance.
Well, Mom was very
They
worried about
travel
all
on a
this.
block.
And they always travel in this group. So we're feeling a lot better about it, because if you take a look at Madison, does she look like she belongs in middle school physically? She's awfully small.
Their kids are all different sizes.
All different sizes, so it'll be interesting.
You've learned a lot about your family. Like, we think we know a lot about our family, and until we're stuck in the house with them all the time, and then we learn things, right? But here is the real question. What do you appreciate most about your family?
I forgot the question.
Oh, okay.
What do you appreciate about our family?
What? Yeah,
Like
okay.
good or bad stuff?
Either.
Because I have both.
Appreciate. What does appreciate mean?
Good.
Okay, there you go.
Nothing though.
You can.
I learned that we're terrible fish owners.
We just got to check an aquarium. We just got an aquarium.
My
Right, that's your
second
own.
fish
What do you
is
appreciate?
dying.
My sentence would be, we persist. We persist. No matter what's thrown at us, we get back up and we keep going.
Madison, what do you love about your mom, dad, and your sisters?
Play.
You love being able to play with them and do stuff with them, right? That's wonderful. Rachel, what about you? What do you appreciate about your family?
That I can do stuff for them.
Absolutely. It's Stephanie. What do you, as the old wise sister, what do you appreciate about your family, despite their non-fish capable abilities that you suggest?
He's good at making pancakes.
He's good at making pancakes.
Yes.
That's good. So parents definitely know how to take care of you and make sure we all get fed. That's a good skill indeed. Jeffrey, what do you feel?
What I learned was that we're all individuals, but we still are the Romeo family. When it comes to, in the end, we're still a family.